everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have with us a couple of guests on the show. We have Lips and Robb of Anvil. Welcome back to the show, Lips.
Thanks, man. Great to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
You're a first time to the show, but it's good to have you here too. Okay, so Anvil, been around since 1978, about to release your 18th album, I believe. And this is just a 2-hour show. But what have been some of your biggest challenges as a band over the years, and how do you stay relevant in the music scene for all these years? Go ahead, guys. I'll sit here with my drink.
Okay. That's funny shit. Okay, let's go ahead and tell.
Well, I mean, ultimately, because we're not a hit single band, staying relevant is keep writing and never stop, which is basically and fundamentally what we've been doing all along. Never kind of falling behind. You keep doing it. Write, tour. That's how you stay relevant. It's the only way.
We call it musical momentum.
Yep.
And what have been some of your biggest challenges over the years?
Staying young, staying healthy.
I can relate.
Which is just about everybody's problems. You know what I mean? Keeping your teeth. How about that? I'm not going completely insane from all the crazy shit that the business throws at you. Stuff that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, those are the most difficult things to get past. You get involved with different people through the years, and fundamentally they drop the ball, and then you gotta pick it up and continue on. And those have been the most difficult things to have to deal with, and not blame yourself. Because it has nothing to. The reason that people drop the ball is because they didn't do a good job. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And if we go back, as you know, to the early days of our career, the first record contract, they let us go. Why? We had done Forge and Fire. Things were starting to really click. Things were starting to happen. They let the band go. And then, of course, the management that we had around us tried to go get us a record deal. But of course, the record industry is a very, very greedy and selfish industry. So when the manager went to the new labels, they go, "Give me the first 3 albums for free." What record label is going to give their records away for free? So for 3 years. In the most important years between 1983 and 87, we couldn't put records out. So we lost that very important momentum that we've now finally got. And that's the hardest stuff to get over, is retaining and regaining your relevancy and momentum. But having said that, had all that not happened, it wouldn't have set up the fall from grace in a certain sense, which put us into obscurity for a number of years, which is, of course, the whole point of what the movie was about, is about that survival. And if we had been big stars, there would have been no movie. So therefore, there would have been no aftermath that we're living now, which is ultimately incredible. Because where we are right now is we haven't stopped working for 13 years straight and putting out records within 2 years of each other in a row. And doing an album, 2 years of touring, an album, 2 years of touring, and an album, and 2 years. It's just been going on and on and on. So now here we are, 12 years later, putting out the 18th album, and things are going well. We've finally got that momentum and the relevancy that we were looking for, and we're making a living. We haven't had to go back to day jobs. I haven't done a delivery in 13 years.
Wow.
There's something to sell.
This band now our shitty day job.
Yay! So, here you guys are, about to release your latest album. Oh, it comes out on Valentine's Day.
I love it.
That's all there.
It's coming on off of AFM Records, and this album is a lot of fun, I think, to listen to, or even just to look at the cover. So tell us a little bit before we get into the album about the title of the album and the cover.
Well, the title of the album all started. I was out for dinner with my wife, and she kind of looks across the table and she goes, "You know what? You guys should call the album Legal at Last." And as soon as she said it, I envisioned an Anvil bong. And then it was a whole, it was weeks of going through who's going to be smoking the bong. And we went through, well, maybe it should be a girl in a miniskirt and holding and gripping the pipe with her hands and make it look like it's not
Kind of sexual.
kind of really sexual. And then it went to, well, that kind of seems a little bit juvenile. And then we thought, well, you know what? Let's get more serious. Okay, maybe we should get religious. And then I said, well, why don't we have Jesus smoking the bong? And then went, ooh, too nasty, right? It's just, that's going too far. We're gonna get people really pissed off. And then we thought, well, you know what? Let's get an angel doing it. We'll have an angel doing it because it was supposed to be such a bad thing. Have an angel smoking the bong. And then we thought, well, wait a minute. If we put an angel on the front, we'll put a devil on the back. So that became the reason and why. So it's kind of,
it's good and bad.
It's good and bad, right? It's for better or worse, right? Like the lyrics say, just another human vice. And it's true. The thing most about the whole concept of legal at last, and it really goes back. If you step back for a second, and the thing is that I didn't consciously realize it until after it was all done. But there's a line of consequences and actual kismet in all of it, because marijuana wasn't made illegal because it's bad for you, okay? Marijuana was made illegal because it was bad for the economy, especially going back to the 1920s and 30s when the Industrial Revolution began. They were depending on pulp and paper, which is our forests. They were depending on the cotton plantations, which is a huge commodity and aspect of the economy. The fuel industry, and these different things had marijuana been legal, we would be making our material, like our clothing industry and everything, wouldn't be made out of cotton. They would be using hemp, which would have put all the cotton industry out of business. They wouldn't be using gasoline or oil because you can make biofuel from hemp, like diesel fuel and so forth. So these are major commodities. And in fact, even the ingredients in concrete can be replaced with hemp. And all these things can last and have a much more longer shelf life and use than anything that we're talking about. And in fact, the very first cars, the interiors were made with hemp. The plastics, the material of the seats, everything was made out of hemp. not actual marijuana, because
Right.
it's the actual plant of hemp, but a very important part of our environmental problems. Cotton and the manufacturing of cotton is a huge pollutant. And anybody who knows anything about cotton would tell you that the cleaning up of cotton and the actual manufacturing of cotton has an incredible amount of waste material that is dumped into our lakes and rivers and whatnot. Not to mention the pulp and paper industry, all the trees that we've cut down. Now, if you take into consideration that we wouldn't have cut down trees and that we could have made fabric or particle board from hemp rather than from wood chips, and we wouldn't have cut down all of our forests, maybe we wouldn't have global warming, because we've chopped down the trees and we're not getting the oxygen creating plant life that we really need. So everything is connected to marijuana and it being legal. It needs to be legal all over the world. Now, another really important thing, something that is very controversial. In the 1970s, they did research with marijuana, and they found that it can cure cancer. And when that was brought to President Nixon's attention, all the research was destroyed. That's really scary. I mean, we can talk about diabetes. My older brother was a diabetes research scientist and found the genomes that actually tell you that you're going to get, basically from your DNA and stuff, they get the actual things in your DNA that actually point out that you're going to get it, can be detected. When that was found out, they basically closed down the research facility that my brother was working at, because they don't want to cure for diabetes, because there's too much money in insulin.
And pharmaceuticals, big pharma. Yep.
Okay. So all these things are connected by completely taking marijuana out of our ecosystem, like they has actually depleted the whole ecosystem of the chemicals that are in it. So that means that all the meat that we eat, all the bread, anything that's made that's soil based, any of the food that is given to our cattle is completely depleted and void of any of the marijuana chemicals. That has made us all susceptible to cancer.
Right.
And that's why when you give people those oils, those marijuana CBDs, it helps cure cancer. So all these things are connected to marijuana. So I don't think there could be, and it's an interesting thing, because when I wrote all the lyrics for this album, I wasn't realizing that all these things are connected. It wasn't until afterwards that I went, oh my God. I didn't realize that, okay, I wrote a song called Gasoline, and that's connected to the fact that about our environment, as well as it could have been replaced by something that marijuana does. I didn't realize that Plastic in Paradise is also connected to that, in the sense that we wouldn't have we'd have a biodegradable plastic had they made it out of hemp.
Yep.
That we wouldn't have global warming because we wouldn't have cut down all of our trees. So it's actually quite remarkable that everything is connected to the idea of legal at last. So it's very, very much in depth,
including pot is legal in Canada.
And of course, finally, the major point of all of it, that that actually what triggered it all is the fact that they've made it legal in Canada.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned this album because and how everything's connected. Because looking through the lyrics, without talking to you about this right now, I didn't have a clue either. I'm like, well, I see like nabbed in Nebraska kind of, but everything else I didn't even make the connection until just now when you're saying that, and I'm like, you're right. Every song can be connected to marijuana.
Yeah, in some weird way it just is, and it's not. It certainly was not intentional. It's just hey, it's just like it wasn't intentional that we stayed in obscurity until Sasha Jarvazi came around in 2005 and said, hey, let's do a documentary.
True.
Things happen. Stuff unfolds in such a way that there's no real explanation. It just does. And this is yet another example of that.
Speaking of controversy, another song that you have on here and this drives my husband nuts. He's constantly outside with his Nikon taking pictures of the sky. Chemtrails.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that Chemtrails is also connected to the marijuana thing too, because we wouldn't. The whole premise behind Chemtrails, okay? They are releasing what is called alumina. Mm-hmm. It's a liquid form of aluminum, which is being dispersed into the atmosphere for the purpose of deflecting sunlight to keep the temperature down, mm-hmm. to actually alleviate for global warming. So that's actually part of it too.
Let alone it's fucking poisoning us.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I mean,
that's the side effect. Now, what effect does alumina have on humans? Well, unfortunately, they found that people have a high level of aluminum in their bloodstream, and particularly in their brain tissue, and that causes Alzheimer's disease. Mm-hmm. So these are the side effects. Now then people go, well, that's a conspiracy theory. And okay, do you want to go down that road? Well, I guess I got to have faith, right? When we start talking about that, I better have some faith.
Well,
but then when you stop and think about that, is God a conspiracy theory? Is there proof? Where's the science?
The thing is, when people call chemtrails a conspiracy theory, it's really hard to say that nowadays, because when you look at the sky and the chemtrails are going in a grid pattern, there is no flight patterns in the world that are grids like that. They would, you know what I mean? So it's I don't, back in the day I could see it, but now they're so blatant.
Everybody thinks saying it's a conspiracy theory. So I'm imagining it. It's just hearsay. It's all bullshit. Yeah? Well, there's a big difference between a vapor trail and a chemtrail. Okay? That's streak in the sky 101. Okay? And call it that. When it's a vapor trail, which is what is created when a jet engine that's the burning hot engine, then cold moist air, it leaves a stream of steam behind it,
which dissipates quickly,
and which dissipates in a matter of seconds. As soon as it cools down, it's gone. It disappears. And trails, that's not the case. The streaks sit up there for hours. Mm-hmm. And that's what the difference is.
And the patterns. I mean, a normal flight pattern. Mm-hmm.
That's not a clear. They're in patterns as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, hey, you guys.
I'm not even going to mention the grids. That's just. Since when do planes fly grids?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That doesn't make sense. Like, if you're going to say they're all vapor trails and they're all from jets, then why are they in grids? Why do I see a checkerboard in the sky?
Mm-hmm.
So, these are relevant questions
Mm-hmm.
that people are saying it's conspiracy theory. Well, you know what? I don't know that it's a conspiracy theory. It's an observation more than it is anything else. And if you don't ask questions, you don't get answers.
True. Sometimes if you ask questions, you get killed.
Yeah, well, that too.
So, you guys released a video, Nabbed in Nebraska. Is that video based on some personal experience?
Absolutely. Well, we were coming in from the night before we played in Colorado, and then the night before that was where were we? We were in Portland, Oregon.
You were talking about that?
Yeah, and my friend Bill gave me a little plastic pouch of some pot. And I've pretty much quit. I'm not really smoking very often. And I'm going, I don't really need it. He goes, Lips, just take it, man. Come on, take a souvenir. You don't have to smoke now. Smoke it when the tour's over or something, I said, you know what? What the hell? So I stuck it in my pocket, and I kind of forgot about it. And we played. And then we started getting on the highway, and we're driving, and all of a sudden we take a look, and there's a sign, drug dogs on duty. You've entered the state of Nebraska. And I went, uh-oh. So we go to pull off the highway because everybody's carrying, and we're thinking, well, we better pull off the highway and stash all the shit, right? So I've got the stuff in my pocket. I take it out of my pocket, and I want to put it down my pants. But I wear a fanny pack, right? So I'm thinking, oh, shit, okay, I'll just put it on the dashboard, and then I'll take off my fanny pack and my seatbelt, and I'll stuff it down my pants. But in the meantime, we're exiting the highway. The sun is beating in. We're getting sweating. I'm getting nervous and sweaty.
It's windy outside.
And it's windy as fuck outside. I hit the window to open it up, and it's got an automatic on it, so the thing rolls down completely, and the pot flies out the window in a Kleenex. It's wrapped in a Kleenex and the plastic little pouches, the little plastic, I don't know,
Little bag.
seal, the little baggie that it's in is wrapped in Kleenex, and the whole thing flies out the window. So over to the far right, there's a parking lot, and there's a cop sitting in the parking lot, and he sees the stuff fly out the window.
Oh my God.
So we continue on, and we're going, oh shit, and I didn't even realize it flew out until now the cops are chasing us. He walks up and goes, who throws stuff out the window? And I look at the dash, and I went, oh shit, it blew out the window. And he's going, do you expect me to believe that? And just as he said that, all the tissues, there's a pile of napkins sitting on the dashboard. They go flying out all around the guy's face and everything. It's super windy. You're talking about Nebraska in the middle of the afternoon, high winds and everything. So obviously I was telling the truth, but that wasn't the point. He goes, I'll tell you what, you've got a choice. He goes, either you admit that it went out the window and I give you a ticket for littering and for having pot, or you say you didn't do it, and I charge you for obstruction. Obviously, I take plan A. So it was a $250 fine for marijuana and a $100 fine for littering. He made everybody get out of the van, and they started checking everybody, and
Yeah, everybody got tickets.
we all got tickets for having marijuana.
And,
No one got a police record.
And we went on our way.
And we went on our way, and it made for a great song.
About 2 hours later, the phrase "nabbed in Nebraska" was being thrown around in the trunk. That's the inspiration.
Inspiration.
I had already written the musical part, and I was looking for titles, and then up comes this, it's called Nabbed in Nebraska. And I went, yeah, we have a song called Nabbed in Nebraska. Okay.
That's a great story. I was hoping it would be that. I'm like, oh, there's got to be a personal story going on here, because that's not something you just pluck out of the air and write about there.
Well, it's actually quite clever at the end of the day, because it's got a lot to be said about it, because it is a money making machine.
Oh yeah.
Got going on, and Nebraska was the first state in the union to actually change its laws so that they can write tickets. It was decriminalized. It was taken off the books as a crime. Mm-hmm.
Small time possession.
It's for small time possession. Basically, it's like a parking ticket.
Yep.
And a moneymaker. Mm-hmm.
And they were writing people up there all day.
It was unbelievable. As we were getting stopped and searched, they were getting calls on their radios for other people that were getting stopped and searched. And it didn't stop. And they said, man, we're having a busy day today.
So, what format?
They were joking around. They're just joking around. It was unbelievable.
Because they're probably all going to get bonuses.
They were having the time of their lives. They're having a big laugh and laughing at us because we're sweating bullets, right? They're going, listen, you guys, there's no problem here. No one's going to know what you guys are not in trouble. We're going to let you go in a few minutes, and you all got tickets. And the funniest part is they got Rob sitting in the police car, and they go, well, how much pot do you have? He goes, I might have a couple grams. And they go, okay. And the guy types him up a ticket, gives him the ticket, and he goes, where is it? And he goes, it's in my suitcase. He goes, okay. And that's all he says, okay. We get back in the van, we start driving, Rob opens up the suitcase, and the pot's still in there. They didn't even take it.
Oh boy.
It was
well, they knew we were coming back. All we had to do was call in to the court, and they tell us how much the fine was for, and you pay by Visa card, and it's over. And that's it. And they didn't need the evidence because they didn't have us come back to court.
Maybe they figured
that's why they let them go ahead, keep it. Who cares? You got the ticket, and you're going to pay. You're going to drive away, and you're going to pay the ticket. That's what's going to happen. And that is what happened.
Oh, boy. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
So what formats is this album going to be released on?
Pardon me?
What formats is the album going to be released on? Vinyls and all that?
Yeah, it's coming out in every in a multitude of different vinyl covers, downloads,
different vinyl colors,
CD,
digipack, whatever.
Yeah.
And what's the touring schedule looking like this year?
Extreme. Very extreme. In fact, like I was saying, like I have been saying, is we're the most famous we've ever been and the most busiest we've ever been. This is our heyday, and we haven't been back to day jobs in 13 years, and we're at a pinnacle right now, which is unbelievable. We have not stopped working. We've got a 53-date tour coming up, starting in a few weeks, all through Europe. Once we finish there, we're going to come back and do probably another 20 or 30 shows here in Canada. And then after that, we got about 60 shows coming up in the United States. So, yeah, that's what it's looking like from this point. So by the time we finish everything, we'll be ready to record and write it all again and make it start all over again. And that's what's been going on in the last number of years, and it will continue to do so. We're doing really, really well. Obviously, the movie changed everything once we did that, and then we really stood up and got counted, and we haven't let go. I mean, we took the ball and ran with it, and that's what we've been doing. We've got an incredible momentum, and it makes it really, really easy and cool to do, you know, because what a retirement from hard labor work to this. Man, what a great! I'm traveling the world and partying as I do it. How it doesn't get better.
And Rob, I got a quick question for you too. Being the drummer, when you're doing these tours, like the European tours and stuff like that, and you have to play like the back line, what's that like for you?
Play the back line? Like, what do you mean?
Whatever drum kit's available for you.
Oh, no, we have our own equipment.
So you bring your own when you go on tour? You play your own drums? You don't play like whatever's on the...
No, we have a storage place in Europe that...
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Complete setup for us. Oh, yeah.
We have a complete Anvil backline that we use in Europe, and we have an Anvil backline that we use over here in North America.
Nice. And are you endorsed by anybody?
Yep. Yes, currently I'm playing the tail drums from
the UK.
Oh.
NATAL.
Yeah, and I use pasty cymbals and Evans drum heads and Robb Reiner Big Firth signature stick.
Oh, nice. So
Simpads, Damar products. Yeah.
Yeah, Robbo's got lots of endorsement.
Nice. Well, we wanted to throw that in there too, so they know that we're mentioning them as part of your success.
Yeah.
And before we go, here's a question for both of you, right? How would you guys say that you have progressed as artists over the years?
How have we progressed? I think just writing better songs, you know?
And we're better musicians too, you know?
You get better as you grow older. You get better. You like wine.
Like people say, the drums of Anvil are in their prime now.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means, but it's pretty good to me.
So there you guys have it. Anvil have a new album coming out February 14th on AFM Records called Legal at Last. You can look them up on their websites to learn more about the tour schedule. And guys, thank you for taking the time to come on the show and talking about the new album and the band and all the best to you. And congratulations on having your success finally after all these years.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it.
Nice talking.